everyone, I'm Jim. Welcome to my channel, Mystery and Mayhem. I haven't done a video for a few days, so I thought I'd just jump on and do a real quick update for you. It's going to be a little bit of what I've been reading for Occult Detective October, maybe a bit of a book haul, and just a general update. So yeah, let's get right to it. As you all know, it's Occult Detective October, and the book I finished reading last week was Sherlock Holmes and the Highgate Horrors by James Lovegrove. I really enjoyed this. I mean, this isn't going to be an in-depth review. This is just going to give you my impressions of the book. I always welcome any opportunity to delve into a Sherlock Holmes story and revisit that world. And I know pastiches can be argued that they're good or they're bad, but myself, for the most part, I really enjoy them. And this one, James Lovegrove, kind of connects H.P. Lovecraft's universe with the universe of Sherlock Holmes. So each section in here is basically a short story with a beginning, a middle, and an end, but it reads like a larger novel because all the events within each short story is an interwoven narrative. And it starts in, I do believe, 1886 or 87, and goes up to the early 1900s. So there's events throughout Sherlock Holmes and Watson's life where they run into these events that ties in H.P. Lovecraft's created universe about the Migos, the alien civilization that comes to Earth, and they ingratiate themselves into humanity. And I really enjoy James Lovegrove. Now, the first one or two from this series, there's 4 of them, were a little rough. He knows the characters well. He's well versed in Sherlock Holmes lore and canon, and he adheres. I mean, aside from all the supernatural stuff and the alien stuff, he adheres to it fairly closely. He understands the character of Sherlock Holmes and Watson and the relationship that they have together, and each section in this book kind of ties into one of the original Conan Doyle stories and kind of expands on that well-known stories a little bit more and just adds an extra element to that story and the characters from that. Like, for instance, Black Peter makes another appearance in this, and Irene Adler. And yeah, it's really highly recommended, really enjoyable. And kind of the trend now is you go to the bookstore, there's all kinds of Sherlock Holmes pastiches out there. And I think Sin's Book Nook has been reading a series called Warlock Holmes, which is another kind of supernatural occult detective. I'll post her video down below. I mean, she's got some really great videos, and she has a lot of good things to say about that series. So yeah, I really enjoyed this, and by the looks of it, this will probably be the last one in the Cthulhu Casebook series, because he kind of wraps it up, and there probably won't be any more. But he has many other Sherlock Holmes pastiches that he's written. He's got the Christmas books that he's done, and some straight Sherlock Holmes adventures under the Titan Books banner. So yeah, I really enjoyed that. And James Lovegrove currently, I think he's written a Conan book, and I think that's available in November. So I really enjoy him as a writer, and I'm going to pick up a lot more from him. And as for what I'm reading this week, I started reading The Conspiracy of the Ravens. So I will post that right here beside me, and I'm enjoying it so far. I'm not too far in, but it's a little different, and it's very enjoyable. But I'm looking forward to finishing it, and I will share my thoughts with you guys on it here. And of course, I can't do an occult detective video without mentioning this magazine. I've read quite a few of them out of this now, and they're very enjoyable. This is just a handsome, well put together magazine, but I highly recommend going on Amazon and ordering some of these if you're into supernatural or detective and occult detective kind of stuff. Very, very enjoyable stories in here. And I like to see magazines like that continue and flourish. So, I mean, the more people who order that, the better for them and the better for all of us. Of course, I got this huge book that I've been reading occult detective stories from. The first week, I got, I got fairly far. I didn't read them all, but I've been going back in and reading the odd one here and there. I didn't want to read through the whole thing because it's such a big book and it is such a busy month. And since it is spooky season, I've also been reading just straight up, scary stories in this book, Beyond the Curtain of Dark, edited by Peter Haining. And this is a thick book, and I was really impressed with the stories I've read so far. I've read it before, but the one particularly that really kind of I really liked was The Other Celia by Theodore Sturgeon. And there's a couple in here by H.P. Lovecraft and August Derleth. Now, I don't know how much either one had to do with the story, but those are probably my least favorite in this end. And if you can ever, find these horror anthologies out in the wild, I suggest you pick them up when you get a chance, because they're just they're very enjoyable to read, and these are classic horror writers in here, so it's just a good introduction to classic horror in these anthologies. I was out the other day and I happened to stop at Value Village, which is a local thrift store, and I just picked up a few books, which was kind of I had a whole bunch in my hand, but I ended up putting a few back because Value Village, they've kind of hiked the prices of their used books now, so that they've made them a bit more expensive, whereas they should be cheaper. But so I kind of trimmed it down a little bit. I just got 5 books, but I'm going to show them to you. Now, this one here is not in very good condition, and usually I don't buy books in really, really bad condition. I like them to be in decent condition, but this is a private eye novel, and I've never heard of this writer before, so I always like to give new writers and new characters that I don't know anything about, I like to give them a chance. And then if I like them, then I'll seek out more of these books. So this one was called Blackheart Highway by Richard Barr, and the character in this, his name is California PI Will Hardesty. And the Chicago Tribune called him the legitimate heir to Ross MacDonald, the dark poet king of California mysteries. Now, the PI story kind of had its start in L.A. If you go back to Chandler, but even before that, it was San Francisco with Dashiell Hammett, and So I'm gonna read this, and as I said, I've never really heard of him before. But after I got the book, I researched a little bit, and he's well thought of in the PI community. So I'm looking forward to reading that. And I'm always up for picking up another Buchanan book. This is Buchanan's Gun by Jonas Ward. That makes about 5 or 6 from the series I have now up on my shelf. So every now and then you'll see these pop up on a used in a thrift store or used bookstore shelf. So that was I'm always happy to find those. And you might have seen me on the live stream with Cliff from Cliff's Dark Gems, and he held up a book by John Connolly, and I forget the name of the one that he held up, but he was recommended by someone else to read John Connolly. So, and I see his books on the shelf all the time, and I've never picked them up, never read them, but I did pick up this one, John Connolly book called Black Angel. And this features his character called Charlie Parker, who's basically an occult detective. So, which fits in just perfectly with this month's event. So I'm kind of looking forward to reading that, and I'd like to thank Cliff for pointing me in the right direction for that one. And I was happy to find this, the new bedside bathtub and armchair companion to Agatha Christie. And this is, it's a few years old. It's from this one's from 1994, but it's kind of a cool book to have because it shows all the old paperback covers for all the titles that she's written, and it'll show movie posters. I mean, if there was ever a movie adaptation of any of the books, it'll show the movie posters, and it talks all about the story. There's the actresses from Death on the Nile from the movie. So yeah, that was a good find, and I love these reference books. Like when you love a character or a series of books, and you've got this you can refer to. This is a great thing. So I was happy to find it, and as I said, I'm going to have to start collecting more Agatha Christie now. She deserves all the fame and celebrity that she has because she was a really good writer. And somebody must have gotten rid of their Agatha Christie collection, because when I went to Value Village, there was all kinds of Agatha Christie stuff on the shelves. Or somebody died and their family member, donated it. But I found this book, Agatha Christie's Poirot, The Life and Times of Hercule Poirot by Anne Hart. And this is like one of those kind of fictional biography things like, you see with Sherlock Holmes or Nero Wolfe. And it just goes through all the stories and his life from early life to later life. And these are just enjoyable to read. And that's a great cover and a great find. This is from 1990, and it's a first edition. So yeah, as soon as I saw that one, I snagged that one up. So usually, yesterday I went to Indigo bookstores, and that's, for those who don't know, that's like your Barnes & Noble down in the States, or your, Waterstones over in the UK, or, the new bookstores. And every time I go in there, I always try to snag these. So there's the Ellery Queen Mystery Magazine and Alfred Hitchcock's Mystery Magazine. Now, I was hoping to get the Halloween editions, but they've already got the Christmas editions out, as you can see. But I always enjoy reading them. It's just a very comforting thing to sit down with one of these magazines and just read the stories in them. And they're usually very enjoyable. So yeah, that's all I wanted to do. I just wanted to share what I've been reading with you and what I picked up. And I hope everyone's having a great week. And I will talk to you again very soon and let you know what I've been reading and what I've been up to. So I will talk to you soon. You guys take care. Keep reading.